You know, one of the things I always admired about the son of the Queen, Queen Camilla, Tom Parker Bowles, who I can say is a nice friend now, is the fact that, he came out publicly and stood up for his mum when Prince Harry decided to attack her in his book Spare. And that was sort of unprecedented, but because he's not really a royal, he's just associated with the royal family through birth, etc., we all know. But it was nice, wasn't it, that somebody actually came out and said, you know what, Harry, you are sort of bullying people, you're unkind, you shouldn't do that. But consequently, of course, what you find with people like that do it, they never like it when it's their turn, do they? They always want their own way. And Harry, when you think about it, has never really been called in to actually back up these claims, certainly because he knows his elder brother, Prince William, won't come out and say that, because obviously they don't do that. But it's interesting to note that Harry literally had a taste of his own medicine when he returned back here to the United Kingdom earlier this week, of course, for a meeting with his father, which was much trumpeted in the mainstream media about, reconciliation, the usual claptrap of olive branches, the usual stuff. Here's what happened though, let me explain. Morning, good to see you chums in the very wet and windy London town today. St Pancras, as you can see, that wonderful hotel in the background behind me. Just literally a spectacular building. If you do get a chance, go and have a look round. It's just worth it looking at the architecture and exactly how they looked at things 150 years ago. So, they really made them built to last. There was a story the other day I wanted to share with you very quickly because I know I get told off doing this, but it was about a pier in Southport in Lancashire. And it got on fire after they refurbished it. And they said, it might have to go. No, Victorians knew how to build things. The only way it will have to go is if it's too expensive and it's better on insurance. You get the picture. Absolutely. Let's get back to your royal story of the day. Yes, this, you see, caught a lot of headlines, didn't it? The return back of Prince Harry, the meeting with his father, and literally, as I pointed out, every single mainstream media person was tipped off along the way exactly Harry's movements. He signposted it by saying, oh, I'm running late for a meeting. They knew the gap in the schedule of His Majesty the King between the investiture and meeting a foreign dignitary. So it all was patted out, so making sure that the mainstream media simply did not miss the opportunity of Harry arriving. Of course, some people might say he chose the back entrance. Well, not really. You see, the bottom line was it was always going to be that way. I mean, people are speculating on that, but really the idea was that people wouldn't know he was going, the sort of thing. Now, here's where this gets even more interesting, you see, because Harry, according to an excellent source, thought this meeting was literally just going to be between him and his father. In fact, he'd stipulated that no phones, nobody else, just him and, of course, his youngest son. And the idea really was that Harry wasn't going to come up with any demands about his wife curtsying or public apologies, just a simple get-together to see how it goes. This has all been schooled, and again, I have to say allegedly, by his new marketing and PR team behind the scenes. They wanted him to, go in a lot softer, not as demanding. And also, let's not forget, he doesn't really have much clout or much power. But of course, Harry being Harry, you could see the joyous sort of smartening of his face as he was driving in, and things didn't exactly go to plan as he was driving out. And here's the reason why, from an excellent source. You see, Harry was shocked to find that even though he was kept waiting a considerable amount of time, not through petulance or pertinence or anything like that, simply because the king was busy with other duties, well, what happened was he was stunned to find none other than Queen Camilla sitting there. And basically Harry thought, according to the excellent source, that the Queen would just get up and, leave them to it. No. As the Tammy Wynette famous song, and she sang, "Standing by Her Man." Now, there's a reason for this. And, whether you're a Camilla fan or not, I get it. Everybody has their choices. But the thing is, His Majesty the King doesn't need any anxiety, any pressure, anything like that, They just don't need it. So consequently, with his health condition, he wanted somebody else there, and rightly so. Who would dare not? So for all the stories going on about it was excellent and exactly how he wanted, all of that sort of stuff, well, it may have been, but there was one certain fly in the ointment for Harry that he hadn't really banked on, and that was Queen Camilla. Now, people might judge and say, well, this was father and son time. I disagree. What I would say is that, having been caught out numerous times now, what you have to remember, if you are His Majesty the King or any senior member of the British monarchy, as we saw with the late Queen Elizabeth, the moment that Harry had finished with you, he went back on national television. This time around, though, it was going to prove more difficult, wasn't it? Because after all, as he pointed out in his book, and on television, Queen Camilla was dangerous. Right, there you go. Neil Shaw, King's Cross, London.